Fun fact, you can't get pregnant every day. You're only fertile for 6 days, ovulation day and the 5 days leading up to it. Natural Cycles is the only birth control app that can pinpoint your fertile window by analyzing your hormone-driven temperature trends. It's more than just a basic cycle tracking app. Natural Cycles is the only FDA-cleared and CE-marked birth control app and has helped millions prevent and plan for pregnancy naturally. Save 15% when you sign up today with code RADIO15. Learn more at naturalcycles.com.
Hey, welcome into the latest edition of the Show Before the Show podcast, the official podcast of minor league baseball. As we arrived at a fun episode today. It is mid-January 2023. You made it to another calendar year that is, hopefully going to include all kinds of fun minor league baseball in your life and in ours. And we welcome in to this week's episode with Benjamin Hill and Sam Dykstra in New York City. My name is Tyler Maughan. Guys, I'm excited for this episode. We sort of teased last week what we were going to be doing. I don't think we teased it nearly to the extent that I'm excited about it, but I'm super pumped today for this one. Not to be confused with that weird Showtime series about Uber. Super pumped.
Oh,
isn't that what that was called?
I have no idea what you're referencing right now, but sure, you're right, Tyler. And
I
a
went
happy
a long way for that.
A happy early hat day to you, which is coming up on
thank you, sir.
We should mention why we have the theme of the show this week is that National Hat Day is on Sunday.
There'll
be lots of minor league content devised around that. This is another piece of it, but this is a very fun piece of it. I hope we'll see. We have not actually sat down and planned everything that's to come.
That is true.
A planning podcast, a planning meeting in audio form. So
yeah, we've laid the groundwork for this, but we haven't put any of the pillars in place. But I'm still pretty excited about it. Ben, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well. Hanging out in the conference room with Sam Dykstra, which is one of my great joys in life. So it's always great to be here. Happy National Hat Day to you guys. Huge holiday on the calendar. Is it a fixed day every year or is it adjustable?
No, I think I bought that hook, line, and sinker. That was so good.
You were so
so good. I was like, no, I think it's because I think we've had it closer to opening day before. I think it's why. And I just dove right for that.
Shouldn't they have it on the 7th or the 8th?
Yes.
Like the midway point between the 7th and the 8th or something.
Yeah. Or they should have it in July, 3/8 of the way into the month for me.
Well, for some of us, it would be 5/8, but
that's true. That is true.
That's fine.
Sorry, blimp head.
Hey, I'm not a Kevin Mensch. It could be worse, or Bruce Bochy.
Bruce Bochy. When I did that World Baseball Classic qualifier in Germany and met Bruce Bochy for the first time, my first thought was like, damn, they weren't lying about his head. That thing is gigantic.
They had to get big head is in Texas.
They had to get a custom hat for him, and now it's in Texas. Exactly.
Right.
It's pretty amazing stuff. Well, before we get into it, we should let you know that we're calling all cap collectors and enthusiasts, your caps, your hats, your lids, your headwear, your beanies, your noggin warmers. National Hat Day is coming up on Sunday, January 15th, and the official minor league baseball store is celebrating with sales all week long. That's this week as you're listening to this week's episode of the show, unless you're listening in a future week, in which case you're screwed. With all your favorite MILB teams, Copa, theme night identities, Marvel, you name it, we got it. Mark your calendars for January 15th through the 20th. You can come spin the discount wheel, find your deal, and you could win a $100 gift card to the MILB store at MILBstore.com. No purchase necessary, so we bring on the onset of Hat Day, National Hat Day, and a Hat Week of deals. And you guys explain to our good and faithful listeners what we're doing this week, because I'm so excited about it that I don't want to take away from the format by me just blabbering my way through explaining it.
All right. Well, as some of you may have seen on MILB socials this week, we put out a call asking for a fictional or, basically we wanted a fictional city and a team name. The city could be real, but the team name should be fake, something you created on your own. Something that means something to you. And we took a bunch of suggestions, put them into a mixer, had a discussion, and we've chosen a fictional team. This team does not exist. We're not pushing for it to exist. But since it's National Hat Day on Sunday, we wanted to make our own hat. So what you guys are about to hear is basically a pitch meeting that happens. I'm sure, Ben, you can probably speak to this better than I can, around minor league front offices everywhere, right? Like some places they farm it out. They say, hey, you design everything, and they chip in with ideas. But some other places, it's everybody just sitting around the table. What do we want on a hat? What do we want the hat to look like? What do we want our brand to be? So that's what we're going to do here today. We are going to design our own minor league hat around a team name that we have chosen based off a suggestion from Twitter. We also got some on Instagram, and we'll go into others later. We'll have kind of like an honorable mention, quick fire. Hey, what were some other suggestions that we thought stood out and could be cool hats, including some from Ghost of the Miners. Josh Jackson literally invents 2 teams a week.
We very much could do an entire side podcast where we just designed identities for Josh's created, or even the real former teams of old in Ghost of the Miners. There's so much creative, fertile ground there for us.
Right. So, but with this one we stuck to is fictional. As far as we know, it doesn't exist. We tried Googling it, couldn't find it. So I guess TM, like registered trademark, whatever. We're just calling this if it ever actually exists, and you heard it here first. But Ben, you want to take us through what we decided will be the winning team name and what we'll be designing here over the next couple of minutes?
Yeah, well, the parameters for this, you did not have to worry about could this city host a minor league team for whatever reason. It wasn't really, based in reality in that way. And the suggestion we got is for a city that doesn't technically host a minor league team, but very much is a minor league city, because the Round Rock Express are located very near to Austin. And of course, the Round Rock Express are a real team, AAA affiliate of the Texas Rangers. But we got what we thought was a creative and well thought out suggestion from Chad Miller Jr., who's on Twitter as at Mr_Cinco_Ocho. And his suggestion went as follows: I will throw my hat in the ring, pun intended, and pitch the Austin Knights. Now, he wrote Knights with a K. The name pays tribute to the citizens of Austin, Texas, as the name is a play on words, as Austin citizens are called Austinites. I think the color combo could be blue bonnet blue, sky blue, and silver. So will Austin be getting a minor league team anytime soon? No, they have the Round Rock Express. But for the purposes of this exercise, we can dream. And we did get a lot of creative submissions, all over the map. A lot of people submitted teams that had existed in the past, which was kind of frustrating because we kept seeing good suggestions and then being like, oh, wait, that was a minor league hockey team 30 years ago.
Including the Rocket City Trash Pandas, who were like one of the first responses we got.
Yeah, who just suggested themselves.
Yeah, I was going to say, and they were suggested to us by themselves.
Yeah, which I think is just them wanting us to do the work for them. Like if we design a hat and they're like, that sounds great, we're going to print it and make money. But anyway, no, sticking to a fictional team. So the Austin Knights, but it goes deeper than that.
Yeah. Well, Sam and I were talking before we went on air and talking about, should we choose this one, Austin Knights? There's already a team in Charlotte named the Knights. And also, does Austin have any royalty connection, any associations with jousting, anything like that? And so I thought Austin Knights, I don't know if Knights really fit with Austin. And then it was Sam who said, well, how about Austin Knights, just as in the night, Nights. And
this really is like a stroke of genius too.
And, Knight, why would you name a team the Knights? And of course, there's knights everywhere. If there's one universal concept among not just all towns in America, everywhere in the world, it's going to be night half the time. But we were thinking, what is an Austin Knight? You have the play on words with people who live in Austin being Austinites, but what is an Austin Knight? Night. And then we were talking about one of the biggest, tourist attractions in Austin, and one of the things it's best known for, which is the Bat Bridge. And if you're not familiar with this, it's the Colorado River that runs through Austin, and there is,
I believe it's the Congress Street Bridge.
Congress Street Bridge.
Yeah.
It's often just referred to as the Bat Bridge. But when it was renovated a few decades back, it became inadvertently an ideal bat cave. So now every evening at sunset, people
not for superheroes.
No, literal
that we know of.
That we know of. That's true. For actual bats.
So we thought, well, that's a unique thing with Austin. When day turns to night, people gather around this bridge, and watch the bats fly from out underneath the bridge and just flock into the night, Austin Knights. And we thought, can we build an identity around that, around this particular idea of an Austin Knight? And then, of course, bats. I mean, there's already a team named the Bats, the Louisville Bats, but bats obviously have a baseball connotation. Austin Knights has this connection to the Congress Street Bridge and a specific thing that goes on in Austin at night. You have the people who are called Austinites. But then we started to think visually, how could we represent this? And started to come up with some interesting ideas. Now, Chad Miller, the man who suggested this, had some various shades of blue as his color combinations. And we might be able to still go with that. But now if we're going into literal nighttime territory, do those colors fit as well? Or are we going to move on from there? Then we started to have some ideas beyond that, and Sam, I think you first, kind of thought of this.
Yeah. Well, Tyler, actually, I want to throw it to you before we really dig deep into this Austin Knight idea, because you are the hat connoisseur on this podcast. So what do you feel like makes a good minor league hat? Like, what should we be modeling this after now that we have the name and the general concept?
That's a very good question. I don't know if I've ever thought about, when you ask me that question, what instantly comes into my head is that you have to be able to look at a hat and recognize what it is, and not like you have to recognize the brand or you have to understand the exact meaning behind the logo or whatever. But you can't look at a hat and think to yourself, like, I don't get, what is that supposed to be? Like, that doesn't really, for example, I'm looking at a team hat on my wall right now that I'm not going to lay the team out, but there is a team that I have a hat from that if I didn't know what it was, I would be looking at this logo thinking, what is that supposed to be? So to me, if you are standing in line behind somebody at a ballpark or at an airport or at a restaurant or whatever, and they've got a hat on backwards, you've got to be able to look at that hat from 15, 20 feet away and recognize, oh, that's the letter K, or that's the, the head of a deer, or that's a rocket ship, or whatever it is. That I think is the first point of contact for a good minor league logo, but especially a good hat logo. And then beyond that, the layers to it, when you then look at it up close and realize like, oh, well, this is incorporated in there. That's really cool. Or maybe this, is a reference about this thing. For example, we talked about a team that actually never played an affiliated ball, but the Missoula Osprey rebranded themselves as the Missoula Paddleheads. And I'm looking at one of their hats right now. And one of the fishing lines that is tangled in the paddlehead, the moose's antlers, has a baseball on it. The mountains of the area are reflected in his eyeball. Like, there's all little cool layers and things to it. I think that's step 2 beyond it. And also, like, you got to have good colors. You got to have a logo that pops and looks good, and that people are going to be interested in sporting. Hopefully that answered at least some of that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good groundwork to lay here. Now that we know what the team name would be, and to get to what you were talking about before, Ben, when we were starting to spit ideas of like, okay, what does an Austin Knight look like? Especially, I think we said it was Congress Street. It's Congress Avenue.
Congress Avenue.
Sorry,
Austinites.
Please save your emails. It's Congress Avenue.
Save your hate mail.
But yeah, at that bridge, and some of the images we came up with were at sunset. Everybody likes a good sunset. It's also the sign of the start of the night. But what is, what stands out about a sunset is that orangey color. What is like Austin most identified with? As at least in terms of colors, it's that burnt orange of University of Texas. Now, I know we're not going to get burnt orange. We don't want to make it look like this is another UT team. But if we can identify that in orange somehow, I think that's a good start. Just to be like, hey, we know this is the color of the area. You were talking about the Charlotte Knights before. They just underwent a color change to get in that blue that is the same blue as like the Charlotte Panthers and some other teams around there. So kind of constructing it around a city identity. I think that orange is a good place to start. Now, for either of you, do we want orange to be the entire color of the cap? Is that going too far? Do we want it black with like orange accents? How does that work?
Here we go. I like this now, because now this is where we're getting into the creative flow. This is how I imagine, like, at a design studio, this is where the conversations start. I'll tell you my thought process. I almost view this team, and I did very much like Chad's color suggestions that would go along with it, especially the idea of bluebonnet blue, because I know, Texas being the bluebonnet state, Austin being the capital. I think that's an awesome idea. Aside from that one, I look very much at the color identity of this team being almost similar to like the Las Vegas Aviators, in that like the orange that Sam described, but maybe even that combined with like the Astros Tequila Sunrise sort of look, where it's a gradient, that type of thing, like deep blues, dark orangish reds, and yeah, even like some sparks of light blue or something like that. I think that all plays very well. But I think if we're going with a team called the Knights, Nights, it's got to be like a midnight blue hat or like a twilight blue of some kind. Like
Fair
an
enough.
orange hat, I feel like would be challenging for us to go with for a team named the Knights.
Okay. So orange is still something we could punctuate in there somewhere.
Absolutely, which I think we should.
Yeah, I feel like it has to have some orange, or like a kind of dark orange, kind of burnt red sort of thing, if we're talking about the transition from day to night. So maybe the blue base of the day, but if the name's the Knights, we have to have strong colors that signify, sunset and then moving into darkness. So if there's like a blue background, just kind of an orange type sunset over the bridge, work on that. Do you think?
I like that idea.
Blue background, orange, really dark orange sunset, and then like the base of the bridge in black with these bats, this swarm of bats, also represented in black. Well, how do you represent a swarm of bats? That's too much stitching for
Right.
all this.
Well, one thing you touched on before, Ben, that I kind of want to introduce here is the arches of the bridge kind of look like eyes. They've got that kind of look to them. Now, the picture you have up right now.
Yeah, we found one particular photo that only has, that has like one arch essentially in the center. So then the rounded area on both sides of that arch look like eyes. So we started to think, could we kind of have the bridge also sort of stand in looking like a face, where the area under, the arched areas between the bridge column are eyes, and then the sort of arch itself is a nose, and then the water itself is, kind of the mouth. Wouldn't have to be super filled in, but could that represent almost a face there in and of itself?
I think so, because what is one of the most iconic hats that we get asked about a lot, and I see out in the world, even here in New York City, is the Lake Elsinore Storm.
For a second, I thought you said iconic cats, and I was like, Sam, where are we going with this?
We're doing bats and cats. Get on board, Tyler. No, but like the Lake Elsinore Storm have an iconic cat. That doesn't scream Lake Elsinore, or it doesn't scream a storm necessarily.
Yeah, true.
It just has this look to it that people gravitate towards. And it's a conversation starter. People are like, what is that? That looks really neat. Is there anything to going that direction? We're like, okay, we have these eyes, which are the bridge that everybody knows about, but they're acting as something else.
Now, here's my thought. Here's where I think we take it even a step further. I don't know if this is actually a step further at all. So the bridge, to me, should stand in as the foreground for the lower part, and the there's actually a term for the line, the horizontal line that connects two vertical lines in a letter, but I don't know what it is. The bridge should be the base of a letter A. So behind the bridge is something that forms the shape of an A for the Austin Knights, but the bridge itself is the foreground of the letter.
This is giving me an idea too.
I
like this.
This is how creativity happens. I've never really been part of something like this. I'm very much enjoying it.
So I have two ideas here, because I get what you're saying. Like when the flat part of the bridge would essentially be like the middle of the A. Maybe. But what if we do that as like the base? So it starts from there.
The
but
crossbar,
middle,
by the way,
crossbar,
is the name of that term.
So the actual crossbar, could be the swarm of bats.
So what I had thought, and I do dig that idea, what I had thought was we have little bats hanging from the crossbar, because that's what they do during the day on the Congress Avenue Bridge. They just hang down there, and not like, oh, they're just chilling. I mean, I guess they're probably just chilling also, but they're literally hanging, as bats are wont to do. So I think we have like some of them, dripping off the bridge, off the crossbar.
Yeah, my only thought on that is that's what they do during the day.
True.
And if they're
But
coming out at night,
we could have like a few in the process of coming out, and then a few. And this is where I was thinking like the pops of orange or blue come in as we have a few flying away. There's somebody at New Era right now who's listening like, do you idiots have any idea how hard that's going to be to them?
I know, yeah, reproducing this on several hats, but that's fine because we can dream on this podcast, which is what we do every week. So Ben, where are you kind of feeling on that?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it needs to represent, I like the elements of night and day, but if the team name is the Knights, like we need to make sure the night is very well represented.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, it's a huge swarm of bats, and I wonder if again, yeah, I don't want to be too, even though we are just dreaming right now, like if the swarm of bats themselves over the bridge could represent, could be in the shape of a N or an A, or the bats themselves kind of combining to form one of the letters.
Or maybe they form like the top part of the A coming off of the bridge. Maybe
I think that seems like the compromise, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Taking your idea, we already have a crossbar that you're like the bridge.
Yeah, the bridge is the perfect crossbar.
Making the crossbar with the bats, but we already have one. Like this, that's going to get confusing. So
maybe the bats are the the angled arrow point of the A.
I like that idea. How do you feel?
I like that a lot.
That's pretty good.
All right,
and
now
then,
here's my other idea.
Yeah,
that I'm going to kind of throw out here too. Is since it is Knights, and I know the bridge is a physical space, but what if we kind of turned it into like neon?
I mean, you can't suggest neon without me being into it.
I'm right up your street.
I'm gonna like it.
Yeah.
Regardless.
I just think we need something that's gonna pop beyond. Like what do you think of when you think of Knights? It's like, especially in Austin, which is a college town and is quickly
a music
becoming a
town.
People go
travel
out there.
destination. Yeah.
Right. You want a sign of the nightlife. And as good as a bridge is for this, I think if we can get it to pop just being designed in neon in some way, we'll kind of do it.
I like that idea. And this is where we could use I guess the thing that's going to be somewhat tricky is figuring out, not tricky for us. This is for Vince. This is the graphic design side of it. But if we have a dark blue hat, then what color does the base of the letter become? What color does the arc of bats become? And then what do we play off of that to splash in a neon sort of feel? Is it the orange? Do we have the orange as kind of the setting sun behind the arrow of the bats going up?
I think so.
Yeah, that works.
I think that's probably where
we also have to have a river incorporated in there. I mean, we don't have to, I guess, but would that help? Yeah. Does that round out the logo?
It could.
I feel like we need to kind of take stock of what we have right now and simplify with the river, the bridge, potentially looking like a face, neon, the sun, the bats forming the A.
Yeah. So this is I think where we are right now.
Sam's drawing.
Getting to work.
I know this is bad. This is not going to be helpful to anybody.
Oh, look, it's a letter A. No, I'm kidding.
It's the letter A.
Yeah, that's very much what I feel like we're kind of going for there.
Yeah, vaguely looking like a kind of like an anarchy symbol, or is that like a Star Trek?
This has been my thing all along. Is just getting this to be a Star Trek logo. So I'm glad
That's awesome.
I think we kind of need to go. By the way, we need to go for a circle.
Yeah,
just as something that's printed on. Because like if we're talking about like adding bats and stuff, like you were saying, Tyler, with New Era or whoever's printing out the hat, that's a lot of stitching that just it's not going to happen, right?
If you
can make it a flat circle, so it's just pressed into this one thing, I think that's gonna just make it work a lot more, be a lot more practical. I do like the idea of like a lighter blue. We were talking before about the Space Cowboys, and their colors right now are a little bit of orange, a little bit of white, a little bit of light blue, dark blue, kind of that space thing going on here. So I think we have the midnight blue.
Yeah, I think I sort of mistakenly said that the color identity I was thinking of was Las Vegas. I think it's almost maybe even more Sugarland.
Yeah, you had said Aviators previously.
Yeah,
Right.
I think the Space Cowboys are kind of more what I was. Yeah,
while I said that. Sugarland is more what we're going here, which is also kind of appropriate. Texas. We haven't discussed if this team's in the Texas League or the Pacific Coast League. Not that that matters, but anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't really. It can be anywhere. It can be in the Dominican Summer League.
It can be in the Dominican.
they're going in the reconstituted like, you know, some random the Triple I League or something that Josh gave us that has actually no connection to. They're going to play in that Michigan Ohio cross state line league. Sure,
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
We'll say Texas League. Since
Yeah,
the
let's go
Round
for
Rock
it.
Express is already in a AAA team. We'll say this is a complimentary AA franchise. Why not?
All right,
like
so here's what I'm thinking. In the space above the bridge, right? We have orange in the background, looks
Yeah.
like a setting sun.
Yeah.
But to illuminate the bats, which is, I don't think this is a thing they do, but hey, we can say it anyway. We would put 2 beams of light, so it would be 2 white things. Crossing. And then
Interesting.
the bats are in that. I think
Ah,
that's a good practical way of doing it, and it would be easy to see, easy to identify.
okay. I also feel like the silhouettes of the bats themselves could make enough of a designated point. Don't you think?
They could. No, they could.
Just against the sun.
Yeah,
My only
no,
fear is
that's
like,
right.
then does it come to a point where you're cutting out too many things that then it kind of jumbles the picture on like a small embroidered.
Yeah, right.
But again, I don't know. I have things that I can see in my head and I'm like, oh, the thing that I'm missing is like, I have no way of getting these created in paper or in paint or in a medium. Like that's what an artist has. My brain was not born with that. My brain was like, oh, I can see things that I think would be cool. I have no way of translating them into real life.
Yeah. So are you saying the spotlights would be too much?
That's my thought. But you know, we're just
That's fine. No, I think that's
here.
fine. I don't want to
I'm
add too
melting.
many elements and then the things that we want to pop get to be drowned out, right? Like I want the bats to be a part of this. This is why people go to this bridge. Otherwise, it's just kind of another bridge.
Yeah, need some bat references. for
Yeah.
sure.
So I think if we stick to the bats are making the outline of it,
Right.
then we're in a
Okay.
good.
Yeah, I dig that. And then I think even just like a little twilight under the bridge and whatever our offsetting blue color is, so you know that that's water, and then it
Right.
sort of rounds out the bottom part of the A, or the
That's-
bottom part of the circle, the roundel logo, if you will. Man, I think this is very cool.
I think we're in a good spot.
Sounds like an
Yeah, and
awesome logo.
I think once we have, and of course, you know, we are brainstorming and, you know, like front office brainstorming everywhere, you know, often maybe ideas can't quite come to fruition the way you want to, or once you hit the hard realities of design
Right.
and production, you know, you do have to compromise a little bit. We're obviously not bringing this full scale into production, but we will be working with the designer to get at least a rough sketch together, and it might,
Yeah.
you know, change a little bit. And then, you know, maybe not something to get into now, but once we had the logo, you know, then there's all the discussions that teams have, of course, of, you know, how do you, in what ways, well, first of all, you know, you can get into uniforms and, you know, the word mark and, you know, things that you just can't, you know, things
Yeah.
beyond the hat that are visual.
This
as well
feels
as,
like
you
an
know,
every off-season project for us now. And
yeah,
I love it.
And then what kind of stories
it.
are you trying to tell with this identity, and you know, what are the connections, and you know, it goes really deep. And if you know, you're listening to this podcast, you probably paid attention, you know, just to how you know, I don't want to quite say obscure, but how so many of the little references within team logos or the backstories behind team names can get you know, pretty obscure and wonky, and you learn all these, you know, unique and interesting things. Now, not us as not actual Austin Knights, you know, we're not going to pretend that we can put in some real deep cut obscure references to Austin, but there's always things to consider of what little ways can you tell the story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, there's always in this process, you know, whether it's us, you know, doing this on the podcast or teams doing this nationwide, or, you know, you, the listener, doing it for fun in your own home, you know, there's just so much to consider once you have the initial idea and where to take it from there. But it is a fun thing to do, or just fun thing to consider, because it seems so simple. And then when you get to the nuts and bolts of it, there's just so many details to consider. And then you just can't wait to get to the public and hear how, You should never have done that in the first place.
Got it. All
This is
wrong.
terrible. You
Terrible.
guys should quit your jobs.
The inevitable end result of anything.
Jokes
That's a
on
very-
them. This is not our jobs. This is
That's
just
a very
for
good
fun.
point. I do have like a few little things that I feel like we could use to tie into, you know, the stuff that people do in those little tributes that they pay in logos is one of my absolute favorite things. Like, I'll give you an example. The Nashville Sounds, in their latest word mark, the second time we're using this, the crossbar on the A and the H in Nashville is supposed to be the same angle that the outfield grass sloped at in their old ballpark in Sulphur Dells. There was like a downhill grade to the outfield, and they purportedly made the same angle for the crossbar in those letters as it was at that old ballpark, which stuff like that is just incredible to me. But some old Austin team names of the past. Do we put a silhouette of the state capitol in the background to honor the Austin Black Senators in the Negro Leagues and the Austin Senators of the South Texas League and the Texas League in various incarnations? Do we add a little creature in the water to honor the Austin Beavers, who took part in the Texas Southern League in 1895, or the Austin Pioneers, who played in the Big State League from 1947 to 1955? Do we have stars in the sky to honor the Austin Rangers, as the team was known in the Texas Association in 1923 and 24? There's all kinds of stuff we could do.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I think the star idea is great. I definitely like bringing in the Austin, Black Senators and honoring that at some point. I always get a little weird when like you throw in buildings in the background that aren't there.
Right. Yeah, that would be the
That's-
one drawback. Is
feels
it's like,
more
oh,
like a
that's actually
secondary.
on the totally opposite side of town. Yeah, that's a good
Right.
point.
But I would, if we're all running this team, as anybody who's starting the Austin Knights someday should absolutely hire us to run their team. That would be definitely on the discussion, and like another hat to sell. So maybe we come back to this next year when we're building out the Austin Knights brand.
I like this idea a lot. This is very entertaining.
Relocating to Austin and just being 3 more guys and moved to the city from elsewhere, clogging up the roads.
Yeah. Ruining everything.
Ruining everything.
I'm already accustomed to complaining about that in my own city. So now I can be one of the people that people complain about in a different city.
Yeah, but you would
for
last a
doing the same
week before
things.
you complained about whoever came behind you.
Yeah, that's true. That is definitely true. Or
Look at this
before
guy.
I was complaining about the heat. That
Yeah.
too. I spent a week in Austin last summer and I was like, how do people do it? I forgot how to live in the South, which I know Texas, you're not the South. I get it. But in Southern temperatures, I'll say, I forgot how to do that. Not great at it.
Well, before we go, and we're going to throw it to Josh here in a second, I just want to go through some of the other names that we got that could be kind of cool, had ideas. Maybe you guys listening at home can take these and run with them. One that Ben and I got a kick out of was the New Orleans Batlin Beignets, which is fun. I mean, this is a city that had the baby cakes. They are not afraid of going towards dessert for their team names. The Gaffney Cobblers, which if you ever heard of Gaffney, it might be because they have a peach water tower.
Oh yeah, the big peach water tower that looks like a butt.
Yes,
Yes.
that's probably why a lot of people take pictures of it.
Sorry, Gaffney. I do remember driving by that thing in the Carolina League and thinking like, does anybody else notice that? Does anybody
Which
else
might make
notice
it a little difficult for a hat. I will
that?
say.
Right, true.
It might
It's-
sell like gangbusters.
It's essentially just the peach emoji, like in real life on a
Right.
on a giant water tower.
in 3D. One of the ones I enjoyed was the Smallville Heroes, which Smallville is where Superman grew up. So just Smallville Heroes. That's
Yeah.
a little simplistic, but could be fun. And then we mentioned before, Josh Jackson comes up with 2 names every week. Like he comes up with a real name and then he goes into it for Ghosts, and this will transition really well. But the other 2 ones are completely out of his own head. He does this for us every week.
Every
So-
week.
Take the ones from this week, make your own hats out of that. Those are fun. I dove a little bit into the archives, and one that I really enjoyed, and I know Ben did too, the Kitty Hawk Cloudbusters. Just so many fun things you could do with that in terms of a sky blue, in terms of using like a plane to
Yeah, I'm trying to think
draw
of, like,
KH.
What the
Yeah.
character would be breaking through the clouds. I like that idea. I mean, it's obviously the Wright brothers plane. of some kind. But yeah, I think that's a cool one.
Yeah. Maybe the Kitty Hawk Cloud Brothers. I don't know. That might be a little much.
I like that.
If we're just changing names, it didn't fit the Ghost thing at the time. But if we're making up team names for the Kitty Hawk Cloud Brothers, I think kind of works. But anyway, it's a fun game to play at home. If you did play at home and you have other suggestions for the Austin Knights or any of these we just laid out here, we'd love to hear them over at our email address, podcast@milb.com, or Twitter, Instagram, wherever you can find us.
And with that, we have a new Ghost of the Minors for you this week. Josh Jackson stops by with 2 fake teams, all from his incredible creative brain, and 1 real one. And those are coming up on this week's episode of the Show Before the Show next.
You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
We interrupt this podcast to bring you another thrilling edition of Ghosts of the Minors. Now, here's your correspondent and host, Joshua Jackson.
Welcome back to Ghosts of the Minors, in which all of you out there in Radioland must identify the legitimate historical ball club hiding amidst the fraudulent pair. One helped develop a Hall of Famer. The others never helped develop nobody know how. In the last segment, I asked you which of the following minor league baseball teams did at one time exist. A. The Hanover Saxons. B. The Stowe Alps. C. The Oswego Netherlands. The correct answer is neither A nor B, but C, the Oswego Netherlands, who were named after a local dairy concern and tried to milk their time in the Canadian American League from 1936 to 1940. Representing the New York Burg at the mouth of the Oswego River on Lake Ontario, not far north by northwest from Syracuse, the Netherlands never landed the big prize, but after a rough start to the franchise, put on a damn fine show. The Netherlands Milk Company, also known for ice cream, long sponsored sports teams and leagues in upstate New York, but the Oswego Netherlands of 36 were an utter first as far as pro baseball teams go. They were also an utter worst, going 32-51 to finish in last place and failing to put a single player on the league's all-star team. 1937 saw the Netherlands get out of Dutch as the club established its first working agreement with a big league organization for the 37 and 38 seasons with Cleveland, although they'd partner with the Washington Senators in 39 and play without parental support in 40, and getting some standout performances. First baseman Frank Marionetti made puppets of opposing hurlers, and righty Windy Johnson blew his pitches right by Can-Am League hitters all year, helping Oswego go from last place to second place. The Ogdensburg Colts bolted past the Netherlands in the playoffs, though. The Netherlands clogged up the lower middle of the standings in 38, finishing 6th out of 8. But in some ways, that was Oswego's most noteworthy season. No, I'm not referring to the circuit-pacing 230K campaign by righty Mike Namick. The 38 Netherlands, or Nets as they were sometimes called, featured an up-and-comer named Bob Lemon. Signed by Cleveland as and destined to become a pitcher, Lemon later remarked that he would have preferred to be a position player with the chance to get in the action for 9 innings every day. He got his wish during his debut seasons with the Netherlands, posting a .312 batting average and 19 extra base hits over 17 games as an outfielder and shortstop. But things went sour after Lemon was promoted up the ladder. the Nets couldn't capture their fans' entertainment dollars, even as they finished in second place again in 39, only to have their title hopes pulled out from under them by the pennant winner and Ghost of the Miner alumnus, Amsterdam Rug Makers. The team struggled to keep the lights on, literally, failing to secure the benefit of a proposed WPA renovation project at its Otis Field, and was sold to a produce magnate who moved the club to Pittsfield, Massachusetts for the 41 season. And that's how the Netherlands sunk below sea level. Now, on to the question for next time. Which of these colorful laborers tried to harvest some victories in the miners of yesteryear? A. The Grays Harbor Loggers. B. The Vermilion Miners. C. The Orange Grove Men. Want to know the answer? Brighten up and get to work. Or tune to the next Ghost of the Miners. But for now, you'll have to excuse me. My producer Ben Hill is about to wax his skis, but I just gave them a shave.
Big thanks to Josh for stopping by for this week's Ghost of the Miners, which has such a new impact after we have designed a ghost team of our own. Minor League Baseball fans, calling all cap collectors and enthusiasts. National Hat Day is coming up on Sunday, January 15th, and the official Minor League Baseball store is celebrating with sales all week long with your favorite MILB teams. From Copa to Theme Night Identities, Marvel, you name it, we got it. Mark your calendars for January 15th through the 20th. Come spin the discount wheel, find your deal, and you could win a $100 gift card to MILBstore.com. No purchase necessary. Before we get out of here, Ben's got a tale of a minor league baseball mystery. Kind of.
Yeah, well, I got a great piece of mail earlier this week from a longtime podcast listener, Twitter follower, John T., who I met in Erie, I believe, years ago. Got it in the office and, was intrigued to open it. Sam was sitting right behind me. A couple other coworkers were like, oh, what's this piece of mail Ben got? And I opened it, and it was a picture of Sam Dykstra. And I was like, this is awesome. And it was a picture that John had taken of Sam when Sam visited Norfolk earlier this year. And we were like, this is awesome.
But let's just establish the fact that you just opened an envelope. You didn't know who it was from. And inside was just a solitary picture of Sam Dykstra.
Yeah.
Did you have to turn around and be like, did somebody kidnap him? Did you have to make sure he was still there?
There was a little note, but because the picture was most of what was in the envelope and Sam's sitting right behind me and neither of us know what's in it. And Sam was like, why are you just pulling out a picture of me? And we were like, this is great. It's a wonderful photo, Sam. And all of us besides Sam were like, we need to frame this and display it prominently. And it was just so cool to get a piece of Sam memorabilia in the mail. And we had big plans for it. And then this is on Tuesday that I opened it. And then I left it on my desk with, big hopes for the future. And now it's gone. And no one seems to know where it is.
Ben is staring, not in an accusatory manner, but let's say a not accusatory manner at Sam right now.
He's just looking at me because I'm the lead investigator on the case. And I've opened the case. And
it's that. Okay.
There are no suspects, but I am looking far and wide.
Sure.
Who could have put this
Right.
Somewhere in a locker, maybe, I don't know, but with a key code that only one person might know and nobody else.
I was gonna say a second ago, note to self, Ben, go check a locker, but I don't know where there are lockers, and apparently the key card is just for him.
There are a lot of lockers here at the MLB office, Tyler, and there are a lot of combinations that could go into any locker. So it's going to take some time for me to continue this investigation, but
seems like you know a lot about this locker situation, Sam.
That's where the lead has taken me so far, using my brain. That's where somebody could
using my brain.
Yeah. But we will keep people abreast of the situation as things develop.
We will do our best to bring you the true photo caper solution. When we crack the case.
The photo back from whoever has taken it.
Yeah, whomever, Sam, has taken it.
I know.
Really
I'm trying to find. We're all trying to find the person.
Trying to find the guy who did this. You can't see, but Sam is actually wearing a hot dog costume right now. All right, everybody, get in touch with your feedback, your thoughts, your comments, all of it on the Austin Knights. As we will roll this into next week, we're going to get the design process underway, and we'll keep it going. For Benjamin Hill and the I definitely didn't steal the picture Sam Dykstra, my name is Tyler Mott. We'll talk to you next week.